bright smile. So it means that we all should be smiling. This is not a sad event. This is going to be really an event of gratitude, legacy, and memories. Really smile on the faces of not just those we want to impact, but even those who are in attendance in the room. So on behalf of the Lawani's and the AKINNUBI family, I say welcome. A warm welcome to everyone. Especially recognized non-knowledge from Brown Mountain and everyone outside the ministry in terms of the responsibility. Today's event is
reminds me of our work. That our work is actually not over yet. It's just starting. Yes, it's not over. It's just beginning. Through the Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation, you believe in my late wife. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Words. Can we just a round of applause again for them? Before we get into the detail, I'd just like to invite, sorry, we should have done this. Just like to invite our very own Pastor Gabriel Daniels to say a word of prayer to just officially open us up. Thank you, Pastor Gabriel.
Father, we thank you for the gift of life. Not just waking up every day, but the gift of eternal life. Thank you because the memory of the just is blessed. Thank you because every good and perfect gift comes from you, who is the Father of lights, with whom there is no Thank you because this foundation that is being launched today will be used to meet the needs. We decree and declare that with this launch, so much impact beyond what in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father. We receive all these and more in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Please come.
Thank you so much, Pastor Gabriel. Thank you so much. It's a gratitude event, so we're allowed to smile. We're allowed to feel happy. We're not supposed to be morose, or we're really celebrating. And it's her birthday, so ignore my tone and just I won't see the smiles. But with that said, I think we'll just move on. Thank you so much, Pastor Gabriel, again for that opening prayer. Thank you, Mr. AKINNUBI, for those heartfelt words. We'll move on to just see a snippet of the journey and life of Dr. UFADIME through a short documentary. That's ready.
Every once in a while, a life comes along that reminds us of the goodness of God. A life that shines quietly, heals deeply, and leaves a trail of joy. This is the story of Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI, a daughter, sister, wife, and a dentist who brought light into every.
If anyone is not able to
every life she touched.
Be a part of just experiencing the launch of this foundation, Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation. Please share.
Every once in a while, a life comes along that reminds us of the goodness of God. A life that shines quietly, heals deeply, and leaves a trail of joy. This is the story of Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI, a daughter, sister, wife, and a dentist who brought light into every life she touched. Her name, UFADIME, means good things have come to me. And truly, her life was a gift, a good thing that blessed everyone around her.
She had so much love to give, and you know how it was in such a very quiet way. She had such a silent strength. You know, she was also very brilliant, and you know, sometimes it seems like things fall on people's lap. But Fadi worked hard for every accolade that she got, for every award that she was a grinder.
That radiant joy found its expression in her purpose, dentistry. A study to heal smiles, but in truth, she was healing hearts too. From dental school through her residency, UFADIME was exceptional, not only in skill, but in compassion. She was driven by a belief that every smile mattered. Award-winning, respected, and deeply loved, Dr. UFADIME's work spoke of excellence and empathy, a rare blend that made her unforgettable. Beyond the clinic, UFADIME lived a life full of love. She was a devoted wife, a doting daughter, and a dependable friend. Her laughter was medicine, her kindness, her ministry.
100% dedication to our profession, our selflessness, total, as I said earlier, dedication to what she enjoyed doing most, which is making people feel good, making people feel better.
One of the things that stood out about Fadi was her peaceful and smiling demeanor. When I got close to her, I realized that she was really an angel. She was someone who was like no other person. She was very calm. She was way mature above her peers. And then there was something so sacrificial about her. She always wanted the good of everyone. She could never speak evil about anyone.
In March 2025, Dr. UFADIME began a new chapter at the Federal Medical Center, Ebute Metta, continuing her journey of care and excellence. But just months later, while expecting her first child, a sudden pulmonary embolism, a silent deadly condition, took her life. Her passing was heartbreaking, unimaginable, yet even in her absence, her life continues to speak. From her story, a mission was born, the Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation, a vision to protect mothers, nurture families, and carry on her legacy of compassion. Safe Mothers, Bright Smiles connects her two worlds, motherhood and dentistry. Through 3 key initiatives, the Safe Mothers program, creating awareness on maternal risks like pulmonary embolism and advocating for stronger healthcare systems. 2. The Bright Smiles dental outreach, providing free dental care for mothers and children in underserved communities.
Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation is one that is to look out for safe mothers, and happy smiles, brighter smiles. And this was what she lived for. It didn't even matter whether it was a dental situation or not, she was always there to help. So this foundation embodies her. It is what she is. It is what she exemplifies.
Her name is Goodness because she carries good all around her, and she was doing everything she was doing was good.
Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI may be gone from our sight, but her goodness remains in every life she touched and every bright smile she still inspires. The Dr.
and vision of the foundation, it's important for us to understand what the gap is, and so that it just sets the tone for why we're doing what we're doing. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Odofin James Taye. He's a medical doctor, a fellow of the West African College of Surgeons, Obstetrics and Gynecology. He's a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at the Federal Medical Center in Timothy. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to present the paper titled Compassion to Change, Building Safer Paths for Mothers. Thank you very much.
Everyone, I so much appreciate this honor given to me to come and say one or two things as regards this foundation, especially Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI. I happen to be a doctor. She registered the antenatal under my units, so I can as well say I am an obstetrician before the unfortunate events that occur. And I was asked to speak on from compassion to change, building safer paths for mothers. As part of legacy that this foundation wants to leave behind, that is why this topic comes up. In loving memory of Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI, I'm sure this foundation is worthwhile. And everything I'm going to say as regards our virtues and be mentioned even today. got to know that I have to speak during this occasion this week. And I can say that my job is made easier by way of all the accolades and the virtue that has been mentioned as regards health. And the essence of this topic is to see how we can convert our compassion, our love, our generosity into action, into purpose, so that we are going to build pillars or strategy that will reduce the maternal mortality. When we are talking about maternal mortality, we are talking about death that's related to pregnancy. So building several paths for mothers. These are several pathways or strategy or mechanism that needs to be put in place to ensure that our mothers live. And building and creating several paths for mothers is all about mothers. It's all about pregnancy, delivery, or within the 42 days after this delivery. The story of Dr. UFADIME, SEYI-AKINNUBI, reminds us that behind every maternal death, there's a name. Someone's relative. There's a face. There's a dream that was cut short. There was a vacuum created, and the family that will forever change. Therefore, it should not be too difficult for us to understand why turning our grief, our pain, into purpose is a worthwhile initiative by way of this foundation. Today we remember a woman whose life radiated kindness, love, generosity, grace. Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI was a brilliant dentist, devoted wife, loving mother, compassionate friend, but unfortunately is no longer with us, but her legacy lives on. A sudden passing from pulmonary embolism during her pregnancy left deep pain for all of us. However, her life will continue to inspire this foundation and movements for safe motherhood. This foundation will stand as a legacy, a bridge between pain and purpose. Through education, advocacy, care, we work to ensure that no woman loses her life while giving life, or because she wants to give life. It's not acceptable that while you are trying to give life, you lose your life. Now, to come to the silent killer, pulmonary embolism. Can you go to, not even the next slide, can go to the silent killer, pulmonary embolism. Yes. What is pulmonary embolism? It's a spectrum of what we call venous thrombosis. What is venous? Our veins. When they say your veins is carrying blood. And what is thrombosis? It is blood clots. So how are we going to relate these two? Ideally, inside our vein, the blood should not clot. Should not have any element of clots. It's only when there's injury that you see some clot formation, which help to stop bleeding. By the time there's a clot inside your vessel, there's a problem. Because this blood is going to the lungs, and it should get to the lung in a fluidy way. Now, when I say spectrum of venous thromboembolism, It starts from deep vein thrombosis. The leg, usually from the leg. The clot is usually from the leg. And over a time, it can get dislodged, loosen, and get transported into the lungs. And that's where the problem starts from. Shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, panting for air, chest pain, sweating, and before you know it, the person will collapse and go. What are the risk factors? Pregnancy is one of them. In fact, the risk of having thromboembolism is like 5 to 50 times than normal person who is not pregnant. Post-delivery, after delivery, is even common. Following pelvic surgery, including cesarean section, prolonged hospitalization or bed rest, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, and pulmonary embolism is one of the leading causes of maternal death worldwide. It's often missed or misdiagnosed, and that is why awareness and early action will save lives. If we can teach one woman or one doctor to recognize the sign, we have saved a life. Now, what is maternal mortality? Page 9. Now, it's the death of a woman while pregnant, or within 42 days of termination of that pregnancy, irrespective of the duration or site of the pregnancy, from any cause related to or that is aggravated by pregnancy or its management. It excludes accidents. If a pregnant woman has an accident, it is not maternal mortality or incidental causes. It's talked about the fact that irrespective of duration, it can be 4 weeks pregnancy, maybe miscarriage or termination of pregnancy, D&C, and the woman died. It is maternal mortality. This morning, the woman just had normal miscarriage and she needed evacuation. But unfortunately, it was a nurse that did it and led to complication, pus in the abdomen. We need to take the patient to the theater to go and open up just for normal evacuation. We're not even talking about D&C. So if nothing is done, this woman can lose her life because of that pregnancy. What are the causes of maternal death? Major causes are just severe bleeding. In fact, this is the commonest cause. Pregnancy is not a disease. But if care is not taken, it can become a problem within a twinklet of your eyes. Suddenly, something that is physiological can become pathological. To the extent that you have to do what? Charge all the hospital facilities, even blood bank, that you need blood. Before you know it, you're getting like 5 pints of blood, say 8 pints of blood. Infection, preeclampsia and eclampsia, obstructed labor, unsafe abortion, as I mentioned earlier on. If anybody terminates a pregnancy or do evacuation but does not have the required skill to do that, or not done in an environment that have minimum basic standard, then it is called unsafe abortion or unsafe termination of pregnancy. Now, the other contributing factor, ignorance, poverty, low socioeconomic, and lack of attending antenatal care. And there's what we call 3 Ds, 3 delays. Delay in taking a decision, delay in getting to the hospital, delay even when you get to the hospital, you see the attitude. You have already managed to get to the hospital, but the attitude of the health worker is not something to write home about. So what is the reality of this maternal mortality? In 2023, 700 women were dying every day globally. That means like you are losing, every 2 minutes, you are losing a woman in 2023. But unfortunately, more than 90% of this occur in low and medium income countries like our Nigeria. So every woman lost is one too many. Therefore, care by skilled health professional before, during and after birth can save the life of a woman and newborn. Now, the core goal, when we are talking about creating a pillar, should be based on awareness, based on safety, and based on smiles. When you restore hope through compassion, care, and community support. You do what? You bring smile to the family. Now, all these are encapsulated in 4 pillars in building safer paths for mothers. Number 1, the pillar number 1 is early access and awareness. At times, getting to the hospital is the first thing. Early awareness, early access. A woman should not have to die because she waited too long to decide. Too long to reach help and too long to receive it. Managed to get to the hospital, too long to receive. Therefore, in first pillar, to build a safer path for mothers entails early access and awareness, promotion of community education on importance of antenatal care. If a woman does not attend antenatal care, many benefits are supposed to come from that antenatal and delivery and post-delivery. Because when we are talking about maternal death, it can still occur within first 2 days after delivery. That's why in Yoruba tradition, they say 40 days, before you go out. You wait for 40 days. This is to factor in what could have happened. There may be a sequel to that delivery. Also, we should encourage what is called birth preparedness. What is birth preparedness? Every woman that's pregnant should prepare for that delivery. And when we talk about preparation, what and how will you get to the hospital? What do you have in store? What money have you saved? For example, I usually ask my patient, if labor starts by 1 a.m., can you get to this hospital? They say, no, God forbid, it comes by 1 a.m. I say, no, you can't tell. Because some people will say they want to wait until 5 a.m. when they open the gate. I say, go and ask the vigilante or the security people, how can you have access in case something happens? If your husband does not have any means of mobility to move you to the hospital, ask any keke that usually park around you. Please, we need to get the number and call. Now, education for health workers is so very important. And early recognition of pulmonary embolism is very important. Now, as regards this pulmonary embolism, there should be a campaign on thrombosis prevention. Hydration, daily exercise, checkup. There's what we call World Thrombosis Day. It's usually celebrated every October 13. October 13 of every year globally, World Thrombosis Day is usually celebrated to create awareness on pulmonary embolism. So this foundation might key into that every October 13. The next thing is to strengthen healthcare. And I heard that one when I'm talking about the key points. Strengthen healthcare, because getting to the healthcare also, and if nothing is done by way of how to attend to emergency, then it's as good as you not go to that place. That's what we call, you need to train and retrain the health workers. You need to enable everybody to access contraception, family planning. A woman will not die from a pregnancy she does not have. That is if the woman is destined to die from pregnancy-related cause. I have a very someone managed to get pregnant at 50 years of age through IVF, and before you know, had twins, before you know, complication arrived from his transaction, before you know, the woman died. Now begin to wonder, what if she did not have that pregnancy? You understand? So a woman will not die for a pregnancy that she don't have. That's just on the extreme anyway. But at times, one needs to regulate the number of, because at times some say, oh, this one's a mistake. This one's a mistake. That means if the person has prevented it, it will not have gone in the first place. And we need to equip primary health care. We also need what we call post-abortal care. There's what we call post-abortal care. This is a package of care that is offered to anybody who has terminal pregnancy, not D&C. Even if you just have evacuation by reason of miscarriage that you have, there are things that need to be put in place to improve your reproductive health and to also prevent you from having complications that will endanger your life. And we can also provide transportation. Please, next. We can also provide transportation for mothers. At times, it's just transportation that some people need to get to the hospital. And every hospital must be prepared. And we must establish what we call maternal death review committee to learn what really went wrong. we should also learn from every death that occur. For example, now, if this death was not investigated to not explore embolism, we just stay at the realm of theory, or maybe village people, just natural death. No, every day there's a cause that causes it, and one can actually investigate that. So the third pillar is support, advocacy, partnership, and accountability. You see, we cannot do it alone. Healthcare cannot be done alone. So there should be support, there should be partnership and accountability. So when communities and the healthcare providers and policymakers work together, mothers live. So we should need to provide support for families. We should need to establish a bright smile network that is uniting health workers and communities together. Together, we create a ripple of safety and smile. The last pillar is that one that is hospital-based, facility-based. That might not concern the foundation per se, but what is done in the hospital to ensure that our mothers do not die. How you manage that labor, how you do that cesarean section, how you manage them in such a way that they will not get to obstructed labor. What are the things that you put in place to make sure the woman does not bleed too much after delivery? That's what we call active management of third stage. When the baby is delivered, before the placenta is delivered, there's something that needs to be done to making sure that after delivery of that placenta, there's no bleeding. So these are the fourth pillar. So the four pillars that we need to build safer paths for our mothers include early access and awareness, strengthen healthcare system, which include NHIs. You see, out of pockets, treatment get to the hospital is another limiting factor. Why some people will not come to the hospital in the first place? So, universal health insurance coverage. And the third thing is support, partnership, and accountability. And the last is just hospital-based. These are specific interventions that are done. As I come to conclusion, the legacy lives on. Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI lived to restore smiles through dentistry. Our foundation will now restore smiles through saving mothers. Our love, empathy, and generosity will continue through each life saved. Our healing spirit lives on in every mother who survives. Therefore, call to action. Together we can turn tragedy into triumph. We should join this movement to save mothers and bright smiles. We should volunteer in outreaches and education. We should donate and sponsor a maternal safety initiative. Share our story and spread awareness and compassion into change that will build several paths for mothers, inclusive. We cannot bring her back, but we can give meaning to her memory. Every safe delivery, every surviving mother, every safe baby will be a living testimony that our story changed lives. Together we can make motherhood safe, dignified, and celebrated, and everyone will smile as it should be. She healed with her hands, she inspired with her heart, and she will live on in every safe birth, every bright smile, every mother who gets to hold a baby. She will always and forever be remembered. To save one woman is to save a generation. Thank you for keeping her legacy alive. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dauphin. I think that was very insightful. The statistics, the information, the data, and then the thing Doctor said at the end, to save one woman is to save a generation. And to see the safety of mothers at birth is to see the legacy of Dr. UFADIME living on. And all of us just being here means that we are a part of this foundation. So let's just, one more round of applause for Dr. Dauphin. Now we segue into the actual unveiling of the foundation, and I'm going to invite Mrs. Amel Kudi again to just, tell us what the initiatives are, what the vision, and we've heard, we now know what it's about, but she's going to do the unveiling and give us some more insights. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. Good evening.
because tonight we're not just launching a foundation, we're honoring a life that embodied quiet strength. My sister, Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI, I say that with a lot of pride. My sister, Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI, was never the loudest in the room, but her impact always spoke volumes. She was soft-spoken yet deeply influential. I had no idea. Gentle, I actually thought I was the influential one, but gentle yet firm in purpose. She was so consistent. If Fadi had an exam to write, you would feel useless in your life because she would read it's almost like she's cooking, her book is open. She's sleeping, the book is beside her, and she always excelled, but she worked very hard for it. Everywhere she went, she left warmth, excellence, and the echo of kindness. She was extremely kind. When I remember thinking, how could someone so full of life, so intentionally healthy, so radiant, just be gone? You know, she had what doctors called an uneventful pregnancy. Dr. Odofin can attest to that. Her vitals were perfect. Her joy was overflowing, and yet, at 5 months, she died suddenly of pulmonary embolism, a silent killer that takes thousands of women every year. I have all the statistics here, but Dr. Odofin has already done justice, so I'll just move on. So, many of these deaths happen to women who are sometimes labeled low risk, just like my sister. Then reality broke me, but it also gave birth to purpose. The Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation was born out of purpose, out of love, out of grief and conviction that no woman should die bringing forth life, and no family should ever have to experience the pain that we did. The foundation's vision, Safe Mothers, Bright Smiles, is a reflection of the two worlds UFADI lived, maternal health and dentistry. She was a dentist who didn't just fix teeth, she healed people's confidence. Might I say she met the love of her life in the line of work, just to add that, right? Through the Safe Mothers program, so she believed that a smile could change the atmosphere in the room, and so we keep her legacy alive. We want every mother, every child, every family to live, to thrive, and to smile again. Through the Safe Mothers program, which is one of our pillars, we will raise awareness about pulmonary embolism, hypertension, and other silent maternal risks. We'll partner with hospitals and public health experts to train healthcare workers on early detection and prevention. We will empower women with the knowledge to advocate for their own health. Through the Bright Smiles dental outreach, we'll take free dental care to schools, to rural communities, and maternal centers, because oral health is often neglected, yet it's critical for general well-being. Do you know that over 70% of dentists? It's her mission to change that, one patient, one smile at a time. And through the Dr. UFADIME Excellence Award, which we hope to have in the future, we'll recognize and support young women in healthcare who demonstrate compassion, integrity, and service, the very qualities that defined my sister. I've come to realize that legacy isn't built in years, it's built in love. UFADI lived just 42 years, but she lived them well. UFADI means good things have come to me, and she shared this goodness to everyone she encountered. She was deliberate about kindness, she was intentional about excellence, she was quietly changing lives, and didn't even know how much she did. So tonight is not a memorial, it's a continuation. Through this foundation, her heart will keep beating in every mother saved, in every child's laughter, in every bright smile that lights up a room. As we unveil this foundation today, I invite you to join us, not just as donors, or attendees, but as partners in legacy. Together we can build a world where mothers are safe, where children grow strong, and where bright smiles tell stories of hope and healing. Because as long as love lives, good things will keep coming to us. Thank you. I present to you the Dr. SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation, Safe Mothers Bright Smiles.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just welcome the Board of Trustee members for the foundation, the Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation, the chairman, her husband, Mr. SEYI-AKINNUBI, the secretary who's already standing, Mrs. Ame Okudi, and her mother, the third trustee member, Dr. Lawani. There you have it. These are the trusts, and at the end, just before we close, we're going to share the account details because I do believe that all of us present here are an integral part of this foundation. So we're going to clap for ourselves as just being here and being a part of the foundation, and really seeing bright smiles and safe mothers existing. Thank you very much. Thank you also very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. You know, I've been saying my favorite advert, and the best advert of all time is that advert with the children in it. I'm not going to call the name, but you know the advert. You know, the one that the children say, oh, your smile look better like my own. It's the Colgate advert. It's such a beautiful advert. And it just goes to show that bright smiles really light up a room. Bright smiles really light up anywhere. If you're having a downtime, all you need is a good smile, or someone just smiling at you, and you're like, oh, you know. And really, this foundation with the theme "Safe Mothers, Bright Smile" is really going to change. I just see somebody smiling. That really is making me laugh. But this is a good segue into. But before we do, I want to just recognize again all those who are present here. From FMC Ebutemeta, please clap for yourselves. From the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, from Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministry, and from the Logic Church. And the First Lady of the Logic Church is in the building. Welcome, Pastor Maka. Yeah, the love of God in Christ Church. They're crazy about their own like that, which is my church. But it's a good segue into panel session. Ladies and gentlemen, we've put together a little panel just to discuss some of the things that Dr. Odofin had already shared, right? The statistics, the data, the importance of information, and some things we can just take out of tonight's event as a knowledge base. You know, knowledge is power, and we invite you to be a part of the conversations. You know, I, for one, had never heard of the word pulmonary embolism. So when Mrs. Ame had mentioned it to me, oh, do you know this is what happened? And I'm like, what's that? You know. So tonight's panel session is a good information, learning, knowledge sharing session. So with that, I'm just going to welcome the members of the panel. Please, as I mentioned their name, just keep clapping. Thank you. The first on the panel joining me would be Dr. Odofin James Taye, who you already heard from, consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at the Federal Medical Center, Ebutemeta, and Dr. Fadime's own doctor who cared for her and understands firsthand the realities women face in maternal care. Please a round of applause. Next on the panel joining us would be Dr. Naboya, Chief Dental Director at Asman Dental Clinic, which is Dr. Fadime's first place of work. Really Fadime's first boss, mentor, and an early witness to her dedication and brilliance as a young dentist. And last but not least, Mrs. Ame Okudi, established businesswoman and entrepreneur, sister to Dr. UFADIME, the family's representative, whose love and leadership has helped to birth the foundation we're celebrating today. Please, one more round of applause. Thank you. And I'm doubling up again as moderator for this panel session. But we're just going to keep our discussions and conversations really warm and focused. I'm going to... So, ladies and gentlemen, again, please feel free to be a part of the conversation, interject at any time to ask any questions, to understand better, or even just to gain more knowledge. But we're really focusing on maternal safety, awareness, and systems of care, right? To understand, one, what led to, the situation our sister and our really bright foundation for the foundation. But I'm going to begin with Dr. Dauphin. Dr. Dauphin, thank you again. You were a UFADIME's doctor, right? And you've seen firsthand the challenges women face, as you've described in that informative address that you gave, even in what's called a low-risk pregnancy. Why is it so important to raise awareness about conditions like pulmonary embolism or even any other conditions, and what should every woman know at the minimum?
Thank you so much. When we make use of the word low risk, we're only talking about pregnancy that there's really nothing that there's no potential adverse outcome, whether to the mother or to the babies. However, these terms is just fluid. What we call low risk can become high risk. And the one you think, oh, this high risk pregnancy, you might turn out that everything will come out fine. Therefore, when we are talking about low risk pregnancy, as I've said, we should not just be carried away by the fact that it's just low risk. I think every pregnant woman should be treated like a time bomb. Now, with respect to pulmonary embolism, as I said in my talk, it's usually misdiagnosed or missed, or it might be diagnosed very late. So how can we go around this? Is to sensitize women, in fact to sensitize everybody. It's not only women that have pulmonary embolism. It's to know that, oh, anytime you have leg swelling that is not reducing, that is painful. Of course, 90% of pregnant women or pregnant women will have leg swelling, which is not a problem. But when the leg swelling is painful, it's not going down, even if you put it on the bed, you need to consult your doctor, because it's not something that you can make a diagnosis by yourself. And there's a special scan that will be done on that leg to know whether we are dealing with what we call deep vein thrombosis. That is, the clot is already inside the vein, deep in your calf. So it is from that there will be dislodgement of that clot and can travel to the lungs. Therefore, and also another thing, just to increase awareness. This foundation can also increase awareness. I mentioned that World Thrombosis Day is every October 13th. We celebrated that of FMC this month, and that is when the whole world, create awareness as regards pulmonary embolism. This year's one is from head to toe. Prevent thrombosis, protect your health. That is the theme for this year. So another thing is coming next year, and we should be on the lookout for that. Therefore, what we can just do for you to recognize and for you to also participate or be aware of this. And when you come to the hospital, there's what we call risk assessment. Risk assessment is, there are things we look out for and see someone that will benefit from anti-clotting agents right from the start, or maybe after delivery. So that's another thing that can be done in the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question. So pulmonary embolism isn't just a condition that's prevalent in pregnant women. It's, every one of us need to be mindful and take a preventative measure. What can we do as part of a preventative measure to catch it early? Is it only a swollen foot that's painful, or are there any other signs, and are there any preventive lifestyle choices we can make to avoid it?
Thank you. You need to increase exercise. When you increase exercise, you prevent stagnation of blood clots. Because what makes the clots to occur, there are three things. Number one is stasis, like traffic. Blood stop, not flowing well. The second thing is what we call hypercoagulability. I will just explain. There are what we have inside the blood that make blood to clot. That's why some will not just bleed to death. There's some will bleed to a certain extent and there's clot formation and that bleeding will stop. When somebody remove whatever clot that is formed. And the third thing is damage to the vessels. Now all this can occur even in surgeries. Anybody that do any surgery, especially pelvic surgery, orthopedic cases. But the one you can do for yourself to avoid smoking, hydrate very well, mobilize very well, avoid excessive bed rest, hospitalization. Of course, doctor will take care of that one if you know that this patient will be on long-term hospitalization. And if you know there's a family history of pulmonary embolism, it's good for you to quickly let your doctor be aware of all the risk assessment you're going to give to that person is different from someone who does not have family history of pulmonary embolism. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so insightful. So exercise, avoid being static or being immobile. Hydration, drink a lot of water, among other business. Okay, but I think also that's one of the things why the foundation has been set up is to pass on this information in many mediums as possible and advocate for safety as much as it can. But I want to segue to Dr. Naboya. Dr. UFADI's mentor really, but before I even ask you about her personality, I want to just, because we're still on the medical subject, dentistry and maternal health, seem like two different and they're like parallel lines almost, but maybe not. Maybe I'm speaking from a layman's perspective. But the foundation, connects them beautifully in saying safe mothers, bright smiles. How does, from your experience, how does oral health reflect overall well-being, especially for women and children?
I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. And I'm grateful to God that UFADIME demise has not brought an end to UFADIME. The great thing is this: when we talk about oral health, what is health? The state of mental, physical, spiritual, and total well-being of our individual. And the oral health means the well-being of our whole entire being. I want to ask a question. Where is the gateway to your body? The mouth is the gateway to our body. And it's the cheapest way for us to get nutrients into our body, true or false? If we can use our mouth to do the needful, then nutrients will come into our bodies. We know how it's cheap to do that, isn't it? And we know how expensive it is. If you can't use your mouth, you now have to take food or valuables through another reparator. It is not cheap. So when we talk about oral health, we have to take our oral health very seriously. Where is the place of mother? Where is the place of the oral health? The whole issue of pregnancy as the mother carries a child, we all know that the child will also require nutrients. How does this child get nutrients? Through the mouth, the mother has to eat well and eat the right things at the right time and take the right fluids at the right time and maintain a good oral health for her to be able to transfer whatever it is that she needs to give to that child from herself to the child. If peradventure the mother has some oral condition, tell me, do you think someone who is in pain, who can't eat, will smile? It's possible. You can't smile. When you have pain, pain can be terrible. And the pain in the mouth is worse than any other pain. And if she has pain and she can't smile, tell me, is she going to eat anything that will bring nutrient to the child? It's not possible. Indirectly, what are we going to have? A mother that is unhappy. Sometimes she even thinks the pregnancy is because of her problem, and it might not be. It's just the state of her health. And she's not eating. The child is not getting enough. What kind of babies do you think we will have? Unhealthy baby. The baby can even come preterm. Can be delivered even before the term. Besides that, the baby carries a lot of health risk. If peradventure there's even an infection in the oral cavity that is not managed, do we know that some of these infections can travel from our mouth into the blood and then go into the blood of the child and then cause one or two other damages, can result in organ failure? All these are there. But because we live in a climate where we don't take our oral health seriously, like when we take the statistics, we discover that when you see a patient who is about 50 or 60, say, when last did you see a dentist? This is the first time. I was like, wow. Because we don't take our oral health seriously. And besides, every mother that carries a child is expected to visit the dentist. If you don't visit the dentist, you are doing yourself a disservice. And I actually want to use the opportunity to also plead with Dr. Duffin. We see a lot of mothers who come in and they say, my gynecologist said, no, I shouldn't do anything to my mouth until I've had my babies. And you're in pain, you're not eating well. You have infection. The whole lesion has gone so bad. You don't want to come to the dentist. Whereas, if you were abroad, one of the care that you must receive when you are pregnant is that you must visit your dentist. It's part of the antenatal care. It's not debatable, it's not negotiable. I'll be glad if this can be introduced as well in our own country, whereby part of the package, as they are doing the antenatal, I know quite well, when UFADIME was around, there's a thing she does, whereby there was a hospital beside me, a gynae hospital, but the person has sold all the practice. She used to go there, they have antenatal days. She was the one who initiated that idea of going there. We spoke with the owner of the practice, and they allowed us to come when they're having antenatal, to just come and give them oral health talk. That will tell you how passionate she was about it. So, it is something that she, from the beginning as a young dentist, she knew what it was to deliver to mothers and children the goodies that they needed to have. Even not eating, let me even start from further. You have a poor oral health. A mother can go into preeclampsia. Isn't it not so? They can. They can go into a preeclampsia because the anxiety. Sometimes we don't know that the issues in our mouth can generate so much pain that our blood pressure will shoot above the roof. We have seen several like that. They come in and you say, oh, I don't like the way this patient is feeling. Let me just, can we take the blood pressure? And he's hitting the roof. And you say to them, sorry, we can't manage you. First of all, go and take care of this blood pressure. Come back and then we'll treat. You understand? So the same thing, mothers The bridge is this: a safe mother, a bright smile. When you have a good oral health, you will always smile. Have you ever seen UFADIME frowning? In all her pictures, what do you see? Beautiful pearls. You see her white pearls. It's her white pearls. So you cannot even fault her. She's ever smiling. Whether it is good, whether it is bad, whether it is pleasurable, whether it is painful, she's ever smiling. So the same thing we expect that in her foundation, that this smile that she has always adorned on her face will be given to mothers. And when you see a mother who is carrying a child, what happens? When she has a child, what's she going to do? She's going to smile. He's going to smile because she has begotten another being. God gave her the grace to bring forth. She's going to smile. Will she smile with no teeth in her mouth? And if she doesn't have a good oral health care, what will happen? The same thing will have been translated to that child when she gives birth to the child, because she doesn't have the knowledge. And if she doesn't have the knowledge, what can she give? You cannot give what you don't have. So, UFADIME has the grace to impact, to give, and to ensure that this profession she held on to well, that she translated it positively. Even in her foundation, by the grace of God, her legacy will stick, it will stay. We have safe mothers, and the safe mothers will carry their babies, and they will show us their beautiful pearls, just like Dr. Fadi continues to do, even now and forevermore.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Nabaya. That was so insightful. You know, obviously, not knowing that our mouths are really the gateway. We need to really keep it, you know, hygienic and healthy, and that, you know, just feeds into our overall well-being and health. Thank you so much. Moving to you, Mrs. Ahmed. Just from all that has been said so far, you know, the foundation's tagline, Safe Mothers, Bright Smiles, captures both prevention and hope, right? How do you plan to make these programs sustainable and impactful over time, you know, with knowledge sharing, advocacy, just ensuring that the right tools, the right information is out there? How does the foundation plan to make these programs sustainable and impactful?
Thank you so much. I would like to just back up a bit. So, I mean, when her passing happened, I mean, it was so unexpected, it was sudden, you know, we're all devastated. But I was shocked at the support that we got from, you know, her colleagues over time, everywhere she had worked. You know, were shocked at the people who came out to say, oh, she did this for me, she did that for me. I mean, you know, there's a part of someone who maybe will do stuff for family, be kind to family, and then outsiders are outsiders. There's also the part of people who are very kind to outsiders, but there's family suffering. And then we used to tease her that she didn't have friends. She was very quiet, right? But at her passing, we were shocked at the number of people that reached out. And each person just saying, you know, just testifying of how much she had impacted them and all of that. So it was very important that it didn't end there, you know. Sorry, I'm very faith-based. So my pastor used to say, it's not the end, is the end, right? So we had to start to look at the fact that this cannot be the end. It's not possible. How will we turn this pain to purpose? And, you know, just by looking around us and seeing how much it had impacted everyone, it was really important to do that. So even her colleagues reached out to us. What can happen? How can we help? You know, And that just from that, we then understood that, okay, she even had access to healthcare, yet this happened. What will happen with those who don't have the access? The people in underserved areas. I had HMO, I had everything, but the first time I went to a dentist with a sister who is a dentist, the first time I went to a dentist was when I was 40. Before then, nothing. I didn't even know that, except when she started to study dentistry. So the truth is, and I had access. I had HMO. I didn't even need to pay anything, yet I didn't go. You can imagine people who actually have dental problems, and dental care is expensive. So our hope in the foundation is that we'll be able to reach underserved families, underserved children, mothers who cannot otherwise have this care. Luckily, we already have the commitment of everywhere she has worked to say, call us when you have these outreaches. We're ready to show up. We're ready to be there. We're hoping that, you know, with the outreaches we'll have in these underserved areas, we'll start with obviously where her impact was the most, so in Lagos and in Benin, right? We'll go to those areas where, you know, they need this care. We will have outreaches, we'll do the awareness, maybe first level, you know, consultation and then referrals afterwards. If there are difficult cases and we have the support that we need, especially financially, we'll be able to, you know, take up cases and just see people go through the journeys, right, from not smiling to smiling a little more. So the hope is that we have the support that we need, but we're trusting God, and we know that because the vision is clear, we have our job cut out for us. We're sure that we'll get the support that we need to reach these underserved areas. We're very particular about underserved areas, those who will normally not have this care to you know, get the care. In the long term, of course, from now on, it's going to be an annual event, and hopefully to get to the point where we'll have, you know, policymakers come. You know, like Dr. Naboya said, if we can get to the point where we can, you know, sponsor whatever we need to sponsor to make sure that dental care is part of the, you know, routine checks for pregnant women, we will see what we can do. But the dream is big, and I'm grateful for the support we already have, and I'm looking forward to more by the grace of God.
Thank you so much. That's really commendable and applaudable. I think at this time, I'm just going to ask. If there are any questions from the audience, any questions at all? Yes, please. There's one question. Can one of the ushers please come and take the mic? Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, the panelists. My question would be going to Dr. Naboya, and personally, I'm sort of passionate about dental care, oral care, because I worked in that line, and the things I saw that were very scary. And now, in the case of motherhood, I remember when I was like 25, I and my mom had a conversation, and she says, I think we were just joking. She says, "You are taking me for granted. You don't know that some women give birth and they lose their tooth." Yes, and that did, you know, worry me a bit. So, are we saying that it's possible that even before you get pregnant, you have like good oral care, and then after pregnancy, you can have periodontitis, gingivitis, tooth decay? Is this possible, and how, like, is there a way to navigate that situation? Thank you very much.
The story your mommy told is just a myth. It's a myth. You see, we often forget that pregnancy itself is a phenomenon. We are seeing ourselves going through something that we don't quite understand. For some women, it can be very overbearing. And because it's overbearing, they don't understand some of them don't even remember that they want to brush. And some indulge in wanting to eat and eat and eat. It's from one individual to another. For some, because of the fact that in the early pregnancy they are vomiting and vomiting, they are bringing a lot of acid from their guts into their mouth. And the acid coming into their mouth is actually battling the teeth and eroding the teeth without their knowing. And because they don't know what to do, they're just there. At the end of the day, pregnancy comes and they say, oh, all the time I'm pregnant, I'm having a lot of teeth issues. Of course, if you are pregnant, it's a physiological change. Physiological changes can also happen in many parts of the body. You can have some gum inflammation because, one, you are overwhelmed, you can't brush well, you start having gingivitis, and if because gingivitis is there, you are not even able to manage it well, you are avoiding to brush around there, you will have periodontitis. If you have periodontitis, before you know, the periodontium is loose, bone is out, the tooth will start floating, it will drop out. So the myth of after every pregnancy I lose a tooth is just because the basic things we needed to do were not done. If we do the needful, visit the dentist, brush twice a day, rinse our mouth, no matter how tired we are, we must rinse our mouth, we must floss. So that no remnant of food tissue is left behind. And if we have because we want to eat, because there's so much urge when you are pregnant, if you eat, you should also have the urge to rinse. You must have the urge to rinse. If during the first trimester you are throwing up, if you rinse your mouth, you're also diluting the sugar. That the acid that is coming from your gut into your mouth. That is very important that you rinse all the time. Rinse all the time. And when you don't understand something, visit the specialists. It will help you. You won't lose your teeth. That is the truth. It's just a myth. Because we're not doing the needful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Momoya.
I also wanted to ask Dr. Dofi a question. I'm sorry. When you talked about pulmonary embolism, in our climb here, what do we normally notice? People are having swollen feet. And the only thing that comes to mind is somebody comes and says, let's massage your foot. What can you tell us? What can this cause? Can this also not cause embolism?
Thank you, ma'am. When there's leg swelling, I said that leg swelling will be associated with pain. The one that's associated with pregnancy is not usually painful. When you press it, there's a dimple. That shows that it's water that is there. But the one that will cause DVT, deep vein thrombosis, it will be pain, just like someone that's having, there will be signs of inflammation. It will be painful, it might be reddish, it might be warm, it might be shiny. You see that it's not actually going down. And usually, it's usually one of the legs. It's difficult that it will affect the two legs at the same time. So when you notice this, that one of the legs is shiny, painful, tender, it's not actually reducing. One should visit the doctor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dofe. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Anybody? Okay. So that were okay. One.
I was trying to remember the question.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your sharing your expertise with us this evening, and thank you to the, executors of the Dr. UFADIME SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation. Thank you. So, Dr. Duffin, I have a question. During your presentation, you had mentioned that the risk is 50 plus times higher in pregnant women. And I know that for some people, you also mentioned that part of the causative factors are like sedentary living, obesity, not taking care of your health in general. But then there are women who are fit, women who actually take care of their health, and then they get pregnant and they're still at risk. Like, what exactly accounts for making it 50 plus times? I can understand 5, but 50 is a very high number.
Thank you. The physiological changes in pregnancy, that is the normal changes, that is making the body to be ready for birth of the baby and losing considerable amount of blood so that the person will be well compensated, is what we call physiological changes in pregnancy. That's why no matter how you are, if you are pregnant, you begin to get big, everywhere begin to get big, including your nose, everywhere. It's just result to water trying to gather in your body. So that when you lose blood, you are not losing a concentrated blood. You know. Now there's what we call clotting factors. Clotting factors are the things inside the blood that make your blood to clot. Now, there's what we call hypercoagulable states in pregnancy. Whether you like it or not, all these factors have the tendency of making the blood to clot. But the body is also trying to make adjustments. So that's factor number 1. Factor number 2, to get thrombosis, there are 3 things that must be present. Factor number 2 is that there will now be blockage, stasis, like traffic, usually in the leg. These are 2 things. Now the 3rd thing is now damage to the vessel, to the blood vessel that is carrying this blood. This one will now be seen following delivery. Following delivery, there are some vessels that are damaged, you know, especially following cesarean section. So these 3, so the tendency is there, the risk factor is there. That is about 50% and 50 times. There's no need to occur. We now have what we call risk assessment. There are some people, when you look them through antenatal, they just have 2 factors. I mean, 2 risk factors, we are not going to do anything. There are some that have 4 factors, and you actually have people who have 4 factors, unless you begin to see that maybe they have had previous history of such before, or they have family history, someone in their family have had pulmonary embolism before, or they have some other medical condition. These are people say from the one that they book, from first trimester, you need to be giving them a particular injection. But it's not all of them. It's just the factor, the risks are there. It does not mean it will occur. You know, when we say something is like 5 to 50 times common, it does not mean it will occur. But there are some people who need to single them out to look at them. So it has something to do with how fit you are. As I've said, pregnancy does not make you to be a sick person. But there are physiological changes in that pregnancy that if nothing, if your body is not well compensated, maybe by reason of some disease condition, you can actually affect the person. So it has nothing to do with how fit you are before pregnancy. It's just the normal physiological changes of pregnancy and making this trio of factors to be present, and it will now possible risk of having it to be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Was that?
Okay, one more question. Okay, 2 more maybe.
It's to our dentist.
Yes, Dr. Naboya.
Well, thank you very much. In Africa generally, dentistry is not popular. Hardly do many people visit to go and check their teeth. I want to know, what are the dentists doing to educate people generally? Because people are sick, I want to go and see my doctor. Not many people will say, I want to go and see my dentist. But from right age, if people start from youth, I believe they can have very good oral health. So what are you doing as a profession to educate people generally that oral health is very, very important? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Fadime has already started the program. As I told you, we started by going into one of the antenatal hospital centers, because there's a gynecology that used to have a hospital beside me. She was going there to do something. It was during that time that my own practice initiated what we call giving back to the community. We initiated the last Friday of the month. Whether you can afford it, you can afford it. We go out to the major center in that community, examine, it was during that time, she initiated it actually. We go out and we see most of our patients there. The one we can render care to, we render, and then we give health talks. I'll tell you that that has continued till date. The beautiful thing is this. In the past, there was no dental awareness. So my people were perishing. But right now, awareness has increased. We can feel the awareness increasing even in the number of patients that visit the clinic. Because awareness has increased. So our people should no longer perish. But the only thing is this. This awareness, is it carried to the grassroots? This is where we are now going to use this foundation to take that awareness which she had delivered to those in the community. We will now take it to those, the unreached. We reached the reached, but now we need to go and touch the unreached. That's the essence of healthcare. Everybody is in Lagos. I remember that in my own church, there was a time I went to them to Sabongida Ora, because we have what to do here is an outreach, both medical and dental. I was shocked. In short, I would stand on my feet from morning till about 9 in the evening. We have not finished, we're still busy. And I remember once, out of those outreaches that the church goes for, UFADIME went on one to Ogun State, went to Ota. She was the one that represented us because I was not available to go. I just said, Dr. Fadi, please, shall you help us in church this time? And she volunteered, she went. So she has been doing this. I think God was only preparing her for a time such as this. That this legacy, she started without even thinking about it. God wants us to take it to the other side.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naboy. I think I saw one hand up, and that would be the last question, so we can wrap up.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for sharing your experience and for the purpose the birth from, the foundation. My question is this, and it goes first to the doctor. Pulmonary embolysis is not gender specific, correct me if I'm wrong. Therefore, what are the risk factors? Because I think the foundation possibly is looking at safe childbirth. But on the other hand, I think there's a lot of information that has to go out to the, to the male folk. What do they need to look out for? What are the risk factors? And what should they really look out for? And what would the foundation do should a case like that possibly occur?
Thank you. Risk factors include previous history of pulmonary embolism or deviant thrombosis is any family member. That is, a family member of yours that had deviant thrombosis or pulmonary embolism, you need to be on the lookout for it in the index person. And also immobilization, anything that makes you not to move, sedentary lifestyle. Smoking is also one of them. Surgeries, especially to orthopedic surgery, orthopedic surgery, pelvic surgery, any surgery that will cause you to be caught in the lower abdomen or your abdomen and the person lying on bed for a long time. It's also the pregnancy is also a risk factor. There are quite a lot of risk factors that I want you to look out for. This is just what we can act when you come. There are not things that you can say, okay, with this risk factor I'm having, I think I have, I may have it. I've told you what we need to watch out for with respect to deep vein thrombosis. Pulmonary embolism will occur following deep vein thrombosis. It doesn't just occur suddenly by itself. That means there will have been swelling in the lower limb especially, and that swelling is usually on one of the legs, and it's usually painful. Usually it will not go down, might be shining, might be big, a little bit reddish if you're a fair person. So with this one alone, you should know that it's like something is about to happen. What are the factors are other things that may be mentioned generally? Well-being. So if I say don't smoke, it has something to do with pulmonary embolism alone. Avoid sedentary lifestyle. Hydrate very well. If you travel, you can see if you travel for a long time and you sit for a long time, when you come down after 8 hours, you say that your leg is swollen. You move about, to making sure that blood flow back upward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jaffe. If you're on a flight, always remember that the health hostess tells you that you should drink a lot of water. Please drink. Part of their introduction is that you should drink. It's also important that you walk around. You've seen people immediately after a flight, they just slump. I had a friend. The only luck she had was that we were on that trip together, but it was in a country where emergency care is available. That's what Dr. Duffy was saying. There's a problem. Are you able to access care? And when you access care, are you going to see somebody who...
I mean, it was that, but her passing exposed it that it's not, no be cho-cho-cho, right? She showed workings, the people who came, the testimonies that we had, and that's why I couldn't sleep until this was birthed, because I know that the impact cannot just die with her. Her name, her legacy needed to be kept. And I mean, it's just, for me, it's just living intentionally every day. And I hope that that's a takeaway for all of us. I'm very grateful for the support. I said to my mom that, don't worry, I'm not alone. I have an army, and I have seen it very evidently, and I'm grateful for that. But more than that, I'm looking forward to the lives that will be impacted by UFADI's life. The fact that it can go on and then impact more lives. So it's a life at a time, for impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, can we just all give a round of applause to our beautiful panelists? Thank you so very much. We'll take a good photo in there. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't leave, just stay. I want to invite Mrs. Ahmed to introduce the account details. The account details for those who want to be early partakers of the benefit of the foundation and the impact, to carry on the impact. So we're going to display it on the screen. Okay. This is where there is a call to action. So this is call to action.
If you can't So this was the leftover of the nutrient that we use for a particular World Promotion Day this month. So you can just add it. If you don't have, can even just snap it and go straight.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for thinking about us. That's so thoughtful. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment of truth, call to action. You know when we say, let your money speak for itself. Dr. Fadi had a very lovely saying that she became accustomed to before she passed, which was, what am I doing with my money? It's not for me. And she was known for giving back always. She would give up her time, her resources, her intellect, and even her money. So I think it's a good place for us to just support the foundation and be a part of her legacy and carrying her light on, really. With that said, we're bringing this event to a close. I think maybe before I would invite for the vote of thanks, a round of applause for all of us who have stayed on till now. And as we come to a close, this is not the end, definitely. It's the end, so we can go home, reflect. And I want to challenge us really is, I've listened to all the remarks, all the feedback, all the comeback on Dr. Ofadi's life and times, and it's really been inspiring for me. It's really made me think, especially at her service of songs, I was thinking like, if, I pass on today, what's going to be said about me, and it's calling me to live intentionally and to live differently and to really live with purpose in this life, really. So I see some people are taking screenshots, so please do that so that you can have it, even though you can't do a transfer now, but we encourage to be a constant part of it, so you can give at any point in time. You can give more than once. If you hear, my pastor says, if you hear a voice telling you to give, it's not the devil. It's definitely not the devil, it's God. So please give. Once again, to our speakers, our panelists, our friends, those joining us online on the YouTube Live, thank you for staying through. To those who have joined us from FMC Ekutemeta, thank you so very much, especially ably represented by Dr. Odofin, who has shared a lot. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. To those from the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, thank you so very much. To those from Mr. Sheyi's church, MFM, thank you so much. To those from the Logic Church, thank you so very much. Special thanks to Dr. Ofadime's sister, who's the secretary of the foundation, Mrs. Ame Okudi, for this great and brilliant initiative. Yes, it's a good place to clap. Yes, I encourage all of us to, stay on for refreshments. We're serving refreshments, and they might come to you. I think we're passing out bags, but we really don't want you to leave here empty stomached, if that's a word. But with hearts full, with the charge to live intentionally, to live with purpose, to live leaving a legacy behind, right? We're all celebrating again the life of Dr. Ofadime SEYI-AKINNUBI, as today marks her posthumous birthday, but also marks the birth of a brilliant initiative. I wrote something down. I want to read this so I don't forget. It's a very short phrase that just describes, for me, in simple terms, what this is about. Some lights are too bright to be dimmed. They keep shining, not in the sky, but in the hearts of those they have touched. And that really is the bedrock of Dr. Ofadime SEYI-AKINNUBI Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause again, please, to the foundation and to all of us. Thank you so very much for being here. I'm going to call Pastor Gabriel just to say a word of prayer over us even as we disperse. But remember the refreshments. Feel free to network. I love networking. Talk to any of the doctors or any of the panelists who've spoken and say a word of gratitude even to Dr. Ofadime's sister. Thank you very much.
rising one more time. Thank you all for staying. This was quite impactful. Yeah, I think I picked up one or two, and I'm sure you all did too. So, thank you, Father, for this meeting. Thank you for the wisdom to bet this vote. Thank you, and we trust you for all of the resources needed to make this a success. Because this was inspired by you, and you always know how to inspire and support and give the ability to bring forth. We decree and declare that this will be much impactful, and it will go far into places we could never have imagined, and cause a shift and bring the needed help and comfort to people that really need them in the name of Jesus. We decree and declare that nobody here will be a recipient of this disaster in the name of Jesus. We speak for the blessing of good health and strength to everyone represented here, that we will enjoy